Hey everyone, it's Sydney. I'm back in my kitchen again. So I'm filming this at night, but by the time you guys see it, it will be National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. I was basically born for this day. I can make chocolate chip cookies in my sleep. I've always loved the kind of myth and history that came into the chocolate chip cookie. So I Googled it, as you do when you're a millennial and you have a lot of time on your hands. And it is sort of true. So the recipe was first made by a lady called Ruth Graves Wakefield in Massachusetts. Yes, Massachusetts. So the myth kind of goes that she had cut up a Nestle chocolate bar and was trying to make these cookies chocolate, but she had actually done it very specifically. She had cut up the Nestle chocolate bar, put it in the cookies, and then she made chocolate chip cookies. So this recipe, the first time she used it was in 1938. So I'm gonna make that today. I have a tried and true chocolate chip cookie recipe. I think most people, if you're a baker, you do. So this one will be a little bit different. So it starts with 1.5 cups of butter. She actually uses shortening, but I don't have shortening, I have butter. So that's what I'm using. And now this is a disadvantage of not having a clear KitchenAid, but we're gonna make it work. So into the butter, I'm going to add my sugars so we can cream those two together. And it's 1 1/8 cup of regular sugar and 1 1/8 cup of brown sugar. I'll let that beat together. Okay, so I let those beat together for about 45 seconds. I turn my mixer around so I keep looking for weird things. And we're starting to we got that nice, light, and fluffy, buttery mixture. If you can kind of see it there. I'm going to scrape down the paddle attachment of my mixer and the sides as well, so that everything's on the bottom. So the recipe that I found, which is the original one, it was given to Sue Bride, who was the assistant to Ruth Wakefield, and then this recipe was given to her daughter, and then her daughter gave it to a newspaper. So there's no actual method, but I've made enough cookies, I feel like it's gonna be hard to mess up. So the next I am doing, how much vanilla? 1 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla. I eyeball vanilla, we don't measure vanilla in this house. And then I'm gonna do my eggs one at a time. It's 3 eggs. Okay. So my eggs have all been incorporated. I'm gonna go ahead and scrape this down again. I am much more used to the mixer being on the other side, so I have this nice open space where my right hand is. Now that the eggs are beaten, we're at everyone's favorite stage. It's getting light, super fluffy. And then we're gonna do something that I've only actually ever seen once before. It was in the Ellen Montgomery recipe. It's you take your baking soda and you mix it with water. So this is 1 1/2 teaspoons of baking soda with 1 1/2 teaspoons of water. Got a little slurry at the bottom, and I just mixed it all in my arm, but it's okay. We're gonna go ahead and pour that in. After I read it in the other one, because it made the cookies extra fluffy, I was like, I'm gonna remember this. I didn't remember it. So I'm gonna mix that in, just 1, 2. And I'm gonna start slowly adding in my flour. This is 3 1/8 cups of flour. This is usually way more than I put in. I feel like it'll be okay because I put in a lot more wet ingredients, but I'm a little nervous. Okay, so I'm not gonna mix it too much more because we don't want any of that gluten to develop, but it is very light and fluffy. I managed to get flour everywhere. I've never managed to do this without getting flour, at least somewhere. Maybe one day. Now, the most important part, the chocolate chips. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually fold these in, hand fold these in. So let's get this all scraped down. Mostly scraped down. Take this off. I'm gonna give this a cursory mix, make sure all the flour is off the bottom, because sometimes that does happen, where a little bit of flour gets stuck at the bottom, but that's okay, we just have to mix it in. Okay, now I feel that's mixed-ish. We're gonna put in my chocolate chips. The only Toll House chocolate chips I have in my house are white chocolate. So these are not Toll House, but they are mini chips because I like mini chips in my cookies better than regular ones. Better dispersion of chocolate, which is really what it's all about. So you can choose your own destiny. I choose the whole bag. Kind of fold these in. So we don't want our dough to get too much gluten formation because then that just makes them tough and annoying. Okay, I feel like that's pretty good. I'm gonna grab my prepared cookie sheets. Parchment paper. We never do this on regular cookie sheets. We don't have to scrape those things off. And then cookie scoop. This is like I think it's a tablespoon. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I bought it so long ago that the measurement wiped off the bottom. But this is the one I'm going to use because this will probably fit about a dozen cookies on here. All right, 12, as suspected. So I like to leave my parchment paper hanging off the edge a little bit, so if I need to readjust, I can. So the recipe calls for 12 to 13 minutes. I'm going to assume that's for larger cookies that are maybe like 2 or 3 tablespoons. So I'm going to do mine for 9 and then check them and see if I need to do more, but I probably won't because I like it when my cookies are nice and soft. Remember kids, clean as you go. So now while those are in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and scoop the next pan. Also another dozen. So this recipe is actually pretty big. I'll probably be able to get 6 or 7 dozen, maybe 8 if I scrape the bottom of the bowl, which we're absolutely doing. We don't leave chocolate chip batter behind in this house. I feel like I need much better. Okay, so as we all know, chocolate chip cookies, they were 1938 in Massachusetts. So of course, pre-World War II. So fun fact, your fun history fact associated with chocolate chip cookies, in World War II, men in the trenches who were from Massachusetts would actually get these sent to them. They became so popular, they were requesting them constantly, that they turned the Toll House into kind of like a factory for chocolate chip cookies so that they could make sure everyone who wanted them got them. And then the recipe did spread across into England, but not until the late 50s. And then at that point, it's just ubiquitous, it's everywhere, and everyone has some kind of chocolate chip cookie recipe. So of course I've got this pan, I've got another pan in the oven, and then in 7 minutes we will see what they look like. Okay, so it's actually more than 7 minutes. It's a couple minutes more than 7, so that these could cool down a little bit. I'm actually really pleased with how this came out. They're nice and light, they're airy, they're soft to the touch. Oh, dog hair, unfortunately. So, cookie. And then on the back, you can see a nice dispersion of chocolate chips. That's why mini chips are the best chips. The dough tasted really good because I have to do a dough taste test, otherwise it's not valid. And overall, I think these came out really good. And now the all-important final cookie taste test. These are good. These are definitely good. So I recommend this recipe. Definitely one of the more fun things I've made. I'm just obsessed with this chocolate chip pattern. So these were for 9 minutes. I'm gonna do a couple other batches that are a little bit longer just to see what happens. Obviously they're gonna get a little bit crunchier. I think the only other thing I might do is like refrigerate the dough because that'll keep them from spreading out as much. It'll keep them a little bit firmer. But honestly, the baking soda and water thing, it really helps make them a little bit bubblier, I guess is the word. It somehow, I guess it activates it. I don't know. Science that I don't know. But honestly, guys, like I'm gonna post this recipe in the description, above me, below me, what platform are you on? That's up to you. And if you want to try these, I would definitely say try them. And Of course, if you guys have any questions about this recipe, if you want to know like another chocolate chip cookie recipe, because I have one of those. I have a vegan chocolate chip recipe I can give you guys. And like, I hope you guys have a good National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. And I hope you at least have some kind of cookie, because otherwise, what is the day? Am I right?